You are now listening to Thoughts on Wrestling, a podcast between two friends just shooting the shit about the business they love and others love to hate. This is Thoughts on Wrestling. And now your host, Jay Hughes and Stevie-G.
Welcome everybody to the first ever Thoughts on Wrestling podcast. I am Jay Hughes. Alongside me I have my co-host, Mr. Stevie-G. Go ahead and say hello to the listeners, Stevie.
Hello to the listener, Stevie.
All right, guys, first things first, we want to start this episode off by saying thank you to each and every one of our listeners out there for taking their time out of their day to listen to two guys shoot the shit about wrestling. And while we're on the topic, I owe a shout out to somebody for doing a big favor for us. He supplied us with that introduction track that you're going to hear before each and every podcast. So shout out to Jay for doing that for us. I really appreciate that, fam.
Yeah, man, sounds awesome.
And last but not least, we want to thank our friends and our family for supporting us in this endeavor. We appreciate all your support, guys, and we love and thank you guys.
Yeah, man, you guys rock.
Anybody else?
No, pretty much covers it.
All right, guys. This episode's pretty easy. Basically, it's just going to be an introduction episode. Get to know us a little bit better, find out things like what got us into wrestling, what are some of our earliest memories, what we like and don't like about the current product, and who some of our favorite superstars are, both male and female. So, without further ado, I'm going to shoot it over to Stevie-G and let him kick things off.
What's up, guys? It's Stevie-G here. I am your co-host of Thoughts on Wrestling with Jay Hughes. I'm a 26-year-old male, as you can tell from the voice. Be 27 here in a couple months, end of July. Born and raised in Newport News, Virginia. I got an 8-year-old little man named Camden. His favorite wrestler is Roman Reigns. Big fan of wrestling. Just a little bit here and there. Go ahead, Jay. What about you?
All right, guys. I am 29. I will be 30 in October. I was originally born in California, but as a kid I moved around a lot. Lived in various states such as Florida, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, Illinois. But somehow just always managed to wind up back here in Virginia. I've got a photography background. I used to run a photography business before this, specializing in weddings, concerts, live events. I've been a big fan of wrestling on and off my whole entire life, so that's a good segue. So what got you into wrestling, Stevie?
What got me into wrestling? Sting and that black and white crow gimmick that he had. I was 8 years old. I remember watching wrestling with my dad. He'd order the pay-per-views. He was into it. And just seeing Sting, that's what I really remember caught my eye. One of my earliest memories that really struck a chord besides Sting was seeing Hulk Hogan walk down to come save Macho Man Randy Savage in his red and yellow, and then see him turn. That was crazy. And seeing that kind of stuff at a young age really it drew me in. It kept me. Mm-hmm. I've been watching it ever since then. I love it. Yep. What about you? What got you into wrestling?
Well, if I had to go back to my earliest memory, probably be when I lived in Illinois. I lived with my dad and his girlfriend at the time. But I remember waking up real early on the weekends and watching WWF Superstars. But I had to watch it on mute. And that's because my dad's girlfriend at the time was just anti-guns, anti-violence. She was a big 90s hippie. And so I basically had to be on the control, ready to roll. And got caught a few times, but that was kind of the thrill of wrestling, what got me into it. It wasn't until my dad and I moved out to Virginia that, wrestling just became every day for me. I'd watched the Monday Night Wars from the very beginning. Like you said, the NWO's turn, the formation of the NWO, actually. DX, that was a big part of my life.
DX.
The fall of WCW, and I got to see it all. So I'm pretty fortunate to consider, in my age range where I was and when I actually started watching wrestling. So, but then, as you get a little bit older, you discover the ladies, and ladies don't like wrestling. So.
Right, not all of them.
No, so if you do find a gem like that, that's pretty cool. But as a teenager, they don't really like it, so you go into different things like music and sports and other stuff like that, whatever.
John Cena found him a gem. He did good.
Yeah, but well, whatever.
It is what it is.
All right, so we went over a little bit of that. What do you like about the current product, buddy?
About the current product, I really like the matches that's going on and the talent that WWE has been giving us. These guys have been putting on incredible matches. It's really good stuff. I really do enjoy the fact that the WWE Network is just, it's there. It's $9.99 a month. You get the pay-per-views. You get so many just extra.
You don't think it spoils it, though, with just too much? I mean, that's personal. Like, if we're a little mini segue to what I dislike, I think it's too many pay-per-views. So, I mean, I just think that
it might be a whole lot. Yeah, it might be a whole lot, absolutely. But the fact that it's there and it's only $10 a month, and whatever you want to watch the old school stuff, you want to watch the fall of WCW again, you want to watch the Monday Night Wars, you can. Like, you don't have to always watch the current product, even though I really do enjoy the current product.
Yeah, I find myself going back to the old Raws and just watching old stuff that I liked before. But, I mean, it's just, to me, honestly, it's hard for me to give you a bunch of likes, but I can give you dislikes. But definitely too many pay-per-views. I just feel like that story you can't build up within 4 weeks. Now with the brand split's a little bit different, so you've gotten 6 to 8 weeks, but it's still, to me, it's just a little lackluster. I mean, it's just, as a kid, I remember, and I know as a kid, 3 months seems like a year, and as you get older, it's. Yeah. But I do remember 3, 6, 9 months of just a story being told and told and told, and then finally the climax, and then you have the WrestleMania moment or whatever, and it's just, I feel like now they're trying to push too much into it, and then you have 4 weeks of just 3 different tag team matches, a handicap match, and then some kind of this, and then 50-50 booking, and there you go. I mean, that's my
House
pet
of
peeves.
Horrors match.
Yeah.
So give me give me just one thing you like about the product, just one.
Female wrestlers, man. I think that it's totally different than when I grew up in the Attitude Era. I mean, you did have some good superstars in the Attitude Era, but it was more bra and panties matches. Right. Don't get me wrong, it's awesome, but I feel like it took away from the actual product. It was just, a side project for them, just
right.
If we're not getting them, if we're not getting them, then Tits and Ass was going to do it, and it does. I mean, but if you're trying to appeal to a different audience now, I think that the women are outdoing the men on a lot of the nights. I mean, go back to Charlotte and Sasha Banks main eventing a pay-per-view. It's never happened,
ever.
And they're phenomenal.
And they were in Hell in a Cell too, weren't they?
Yeah.
That's
crazy.
First ever Hell in a Cell match too.
Yep.
Well, for women, excuse me.
So what's some of your dislikes? I mean, I said one of mine. Too many false finishes too, as well. That's another. I think that's a little overplayed when you have 36 of them in a 12-minute match. It's kind
too many non-meaningful false finishes. A good meaningful false finish, kicking out of a finisher, kicking out of a signature, that's good stuff. But when, they fall and you pin them, and they fall and you pin them, and they fall and you pin them, it gets a little aggravating.
It gets a little redundant.
One of the things I dislike about the whole WWE experience is the fact that Monday Night Raw is three hours long. I don't understand it. I mean, I guess I kind of do understand it. They make money off sponsors, blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, who in their right mind can stay up till 11:15 on a Monday night after just working, 8 hours at least? Here we are working 10 hours a day.
Yeah, just to give the fans a little bit of background, that we didn't say in the About Me. Stevie-G and I both work together. We're both machinists. And most of the time I catch the product on Hulu. Stevie-G has live TV, so if I ever get the chance, I go over to his house and watch it. But half the time I'm falling asleep by 10 o'clock. So it to me, like he said, when you have a 3-hour product and then a 2-hour product the next day and then an additional 1-hour product, it leaves barely any time to do anything else.
And there's trying to also push 205 Live on you, which is another hour.
Yeah. I don't entertain it.
And what aggravates me too is I bet those matches are phenomenal on 205 Live.
The ones that I do catch, really they're pretty decent, but it's just, I think, and I've heard it I've heard it on other podcasts that it, and I agree with it. It's when they do the ring change, and I think we've discussed this. You like the ring change. I don't, because I've been to the live events when they do the ring change, and it's exactly what I heard in a podcast recently. As soon as you do that and you're taking 10 minutes to 15 minutes to go down, you're adding commercials and all this other stuff, that whole entire crowd's losing it. They're going to intermission. They're going to this. They're going to that. And then after your 1 or 2 matches, then you're going to break the ring down again. It's
that's very true. Yeah, I never
kills
thought about
the crowd.
It like that.
I mean, we will do a podcast on Payback's, all the matches and everything, like a review for that and a late review for Raw and SmackDown that just recently came out. But I think for Payback, just a little about that. I think the match, the lead up for exactly how they built the matches one after another, I think it was perfect order.
It was fast. They were getting in.
It was good. It was good, and then it hit that weird
House of Horrors
match. But
bullshit.
I think it was honestly on its track to be one of the best pay-per-views I had seen. Minus that one match, if they would have just done it in the ring, I think the whole thing would have been B+, in my opinion.
I don't understand how it's pitch black dark at 7:30 in California.
Hey,
Like, how exactly did that happen?
I'm sure we'll get into that.
Oh, House of Horrors was terrible. Payback itself was good, but House of Horrors brought that whole motherfricker down. That's for sure.
So we've talked about likes and dislikes, what got us into wrestling. Let's tell the fans why we started the podcast.
Okay.
I'll start that off. It was an idea I had about a year ago with a former coworker of mine who was also interested in wrestling. We just shoot the shit, any chance we could between shifts because he was on second shift and I was on first. So with a little bit of scheduling difficulties, it never really got up off the ground. And I ended up getting Stevie-G a job with me about 6 months ago.
September 27th.
Okay, almost a year ago. It's about, close to a year ago. And he's always asking what music I was listening to. And I told him I don't listen to music anymore. And I only listen to podcasts. I'm kind of an old head now. And I just listened to everything, Bill Burr, Joe Rogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Chris Jericho, Eric Bischoff. And it fills my 10-hour days. And I had asked him if he had ever heard of a podcast, and he never heard of a podcast, so I put him on to Chris Jericho and Stone Cold Steve Austin, and then we started talking about going to WrestleMania, and I told him I actually already had plans on attending WrestleMania, so his eyes lit up and wanted to go with me, and here we are now.
It's been a roller coaster ever since.
Yeah,
God.
It's only been, a month or so since
WrestleMania,
and this idea just popped up, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, just giving him a haircut, and was just like, hey, do you want to try a podcast? And hey, 2 weeks later, here we are. So hopefully you guys are enjoying the introduction episode. Hopefully you can bring a bunch of different stuff in the future. My personal plan is to get you guys some indie wrestlers, some indie promoters, stuff like that. Obviously, Raw and SmackDown reviews. We're going to be doing those, but hopefully ours are going to be a little bit more entertaining. We will shit on the product unlike these other WWE. I still love the old product. But I still think it's a little biased from the reviews that you hear because they're either getting paid or they're just done with that life,
Right.
And they just enjoy it as a fan. I listen to Stone Cold's podcast and it seems like he never has anything bad to say.
Ever.
He just enjoys it as a fan, and it's like, I wish I could do that too, but I'm so
Hell of a
critical
talker.
of it.
That dude knows what he's doing.
Yeah. And something that Stone Cold actually just recently did, and something that we want to ultimately do with you guys is bring all the fans on, do question and answers, Skype calls, little different interviews and stuff like that, because ultimately this is about you guys. We're doing this to keep our predictions in line, and but if nobody's listening, then it's just going to be a very
here
silent
just talking
podcast.
to each other.
Yep. But, what do you want to bring to them, Stevie? You got any ideas?
I just want you guys to tune in every week to we're going to try and start off with about 2 episodes a week. I want you guys to tune in. I want you guys to love it or hate it. I want you guys to be able to comment us, to email us, to just let us know exactly how you feel about our podcast, what we can do better. I really like the idea of being able to get fans, to talk to fans. Like we were at Lunatic Luau the other day.
Yep, we'll
Friday
be doing
night.
that. That was episode 2 for you guys coming out here shortly. So,
And we were sitting in the line waiting for Jericho, and for 45 minutes to an hour and a half, we're just talking to these 4 or 5 guys right in front of us. Shout out to you guys, right in front of us. And all we did, we literally basically had a podcast right there with them. We talked about the product, asked them questions. That's what's fun to me. I like talking about wrestling. I'm a huge fan of wrestling. That's all I want to do is just talk about wrestling, argue about wrestling. That's it. I want you guys to love it.
And we do want to also bring you guys something that we had an idea about doing. It's called pay-per-view parties. Next pay-per-view is Backlash, so hopefully we'll do one of those. And basically it's just going to be microphone right in the middle of the room as we're watching the show. and you're going to hear all of our daily lives, who we hate at work, what we like, what's going on, the current product, how we think it should get booked, our reactions as they happen. We did try that for Payback, but it ended up becoming a 20-minute snooze fest when the House of Horrors match came on. So
we were live the first hour and a half.
Yeah.
It was good.
And then, but I guess we could have just said that the mic's cut out, but we don't want to do that to you guys. We want to actually give you guys something.
Some good stuff.
So, anything else you want to say, Bubba?
No, man. No, I'm good.
All right, guys. I mean, we just wanted to keep that one short and sweet because we are going to be recording episode 2 and 3 today. So those will be out shortly next week. So hopefully you guys were very interested and entertained with this introduction episode. If you guys liked what you heard and you want to hear some more, make sure you follow us on our social media at towpodcast.com. towpodcast.com is our website, at towpodcast for all of our social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. If you are on iTunes and you hear this on iTunes, we will be dropping this shortly. Please make sure you leave us a 5-star review or 1-star review if you guys hate us. No worries, we read everything. We are trying to make it on that new and noteworthy so that we can bring this podcast to more and more listeners every week and make it better for you guys. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, bitches, gripes, moans, complaints, let me know or let Stevie-G know.
I like that. That was good.
That's an old Marine Corps thing.
I like that.
Hoorah. So until next time, guys, I'm Jay Hughes.
I'm Stevie-G.
Peace.